Welcome to a little bit of gump goodness for you. And this was a difficult one. My camera decided to go cuckoo for Cocoa Puffs, and make me all in red and refuse to allow me to take a picture or to record. Took like 10 minutes to figure it out that I had to remove the lens and then put it back on, and then it decided, okay, I'm willing to work. Ugh. This is what you learn as a YouTuber. Sometimes everything goes smoothly and it's only you that's the problem. Either you can't figure out what you want to say or how you want to say it and the way you want to say it. And then it's your equipment that just says, fuck you, I'm out. But this is not about my woes with my camera. This is about Vince McMahon. Now, it was roughly almost 10 days ago he went to court in Connecticut to talk about, well, his car accident he had. I don't know if I'm going to add any pictures. I might add a picture of how badly the car was wrecked. And maybe, no, actually I'm not. I'm going to probably add it to the pictures for the gump goodness so you know what the picture looked like and what Vince looks like right now. Let me give it to you like this. Vince went to court. It was 1 month after he had his wreck. And he wrecked his Bentley pretty good. Crashed into another car. It was reckless driving. So since this was the first time, and I know you're going to say, dude, please, no. As far as the courts are concerned, he had not been driving around recklessly for the last 50, 60 years of his life. And the way it works in Connecticut, since this is his first time offense, he's gone into what they call, I think, the AR program, which allows, counting on if you behave yourself and not act like a reckless driver again, if you behave yourself, follow the rules of the AR program, it's more like, for me, it feels like it's probation with an understanding that you have to do some extra things not to get your ass in trouble again and get a felony on, or not, a criminal charge or a felony, whatever, on your license. As long as you behave yourself for the next year, you're good. And the actual accident will not be put on your record. That's the deal. That's what he's going to go through. And if you see the picture from the thumbnail, you can see how much. Let's put it like this. When Vince decided he wanted to sell the company, he wanted to have a fresh look. So he dyed his hair black, had the Fu Manchu mustache, and he basically tried to look like a young man. Here, he has no mustache, and you can see white, not gray, white, like a white stripe just appear right here. Now, I understand more than anybody, I'm gray-haired already. I'm 54 years old. I got gray in my hair, as you can see here. I don't try to hide that I'm an old man. I just am. But Vince wanted to make sure that he looked good, and now that he sold the company and that he was ousted from the company, I'm guessing that in this situation, he decided he's going to let that shit grow back out and become white-haired again. Maybe. I think he'll probably dye that thing again, but you never know. And it was on News 12 that I got this information. Now, there was another YouTuber who I've done it, and I think he's a wrestling YouTuber as well. He also talked about Vince. I don't know if anybody else did. That was the only one I was able to find. Just the reports of the accident and the hearing itself. Now, I may leave the connection to News 12 so you can look at it for yourself, so you can decide what you want to do about that. But let's make this very clear. Vince is no longer in the wrestling business. Does he still keep up with wrestling? Maybe. He may be watching the company and seeing how it is, but he has no ties to the company at all. And does he have stock in the company? I'm sure he still has some level of stock. Maybe. But the majority of the stock he used to hold, like 80% of WWE, that's gone. I don't know how much of TKO he has of stock. Maybe 10% or 5% of the stock, but it does not allow him to be as a executive chairman on the board because he was removed from that. So he's just a basic shareholder, still producing, well, not producing, he's gaining money from the company. If he has any stock in TKO, he has no stock in WWE at all. He's done. He has no say in the company, and as I said before, I'm going to make this clear to you guys again. If anybody, let's say this is the first time you see me. Hiya. But let's make this very clear. Vince McMahon gave up his company purposely because he wanted to try and keep some level of creative control the way he wanted. But he didn't understand Ari Emanuel was not a wrestling fan. He was just his friend. And he was a real businessman, not like Vince McMahon, who was not. And I know people are going to say, dude, Vince was a businessman. He ran a company. No, he ran a wrestling promotion. That does not make him a corporate businessman. It makes him a businessman for wrestling, but not the same as a corporation. Even though he turned the company as a open company that you can buy shares in because he was owning it private until 2000, and he opened it up so it can be considered a corporation. Before that, it was a privately owned company by him and him alone. He didn't need to sell it. He didn't need to make it an openly traded company. It was a privately owned company by Vince Kennedy McMahon, just like his dad, Vince Sr. He made that call in the hopes of being more of a corporate businessman. But no matter how much people want to say that he was a corporate businessman, that he was a true businessman, he was not. He was a wrestling promoter. He wrote for the damn show. He acted on the damn show. He tore both of his quads on the damn show. He got in trouble for steroids on that show. More than a few people got sick and died from that show. Chris Benoit, the one that will not be named, basically killed his family while working for that company. He is not a true businessman that is a corporate CEO. He never was. He was a promoter. And he decided to let his friend, who was a CEO of his own company Endeavor, to create a new company, TKO, to take that other company, allow him to be an executive chairman for a little while until Vince got his ass in trouble, which, understand, the Grant case has not ended yet. It might have stalled, I believe. I haven't checked into it for several months. It might have stalled, but it's still in existence. He still has to deal with what happened with the charges with Grant, the woman that used to work for him, and supposedly he did a whole bunch of shit with, particularly sex trafficking with her. And probably tricking her ass out. And maybe taking a piss on her face. Maybe. I don't know. I didn't check the records that was doing that. It turned me off. I couldn't do it. But under this situation, with this case, where he crashed into somebody purposely, well, as they would consider it, the way he crashed into him, not purposely, but he crashed his car. He just got to behave himself for a year, not get himself into the fender bender, and this will not go on a record. He will just be clean. At least with this. Do I believe he'll stay clean? No. But that's just me. And I hope you enjoyed this gump goodness. Leave a comment below. Hope you enjoyed this one. Another one's coming after this. Peace.